Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, today we're going to be doing another comic book review. We're going to be looking at Red Sonja number 5, which is one that I forgot to review at the end of last year. I don't know how I missed it, but I did. And I actually was reading it earlier so I could, think about this review. And I realized that it seems like I only read the first half of this issue because I couldn't remember anything that happened in the second half, even though I had a distinct impression about what happened in this book. So, really weird experience I had with this. And in general, I think was fine. I am getting to the point where, maybe Red Sonja is just not a character that anyone is doing correctly. And it's just not one that I will be able to enjoy very much going forward. I'm not really sure if that's the right way to look at it yet, because I am enjoying what Thorin Grunbeck is doing, but it feels really slow. Like the monthly schedule doesn't really help this book, and I don't know exactly why. I don't know. I really enjoyed the beginning of the story, but at this point, I think it's going too slowly. So let's talk about what actually happens in here. Basically, we open with a flashback, I guess you could call it, to Kalun Gath's youth. Basically, well, he wasn't young. He was like an adult, but we get to see a memory of him where he poisons a friend of his who happens to also be some sort of wizarding scholar like Kulan Gath, right? And so we see him kill his friend via poisoning as a way to show us his ideologies, which is basically the strong should survive, the weak shall follow, and anyone that is too weak should die, right? Basically very kind of generic bad guy vibes. And then we transition over to Red Sonja, who is traveling across the land, trying to get to Valinger. And eventually she manages to stop somewhere because she sees slavers. And we get to see this really cool splash page kind of thing of her in the snow, looking gorgeous and badass and ready to fight some slavers. And so she goes down to fight them. She kills a bunch of men rather quickly. And then these slavers manage to unleash a hydra on her. And so we get to see her battle this crazy animal. We get to see the slavers help her out a little bit in the sense that they tell her what to do, how to get through some of the issues that have been portrayed, I guess. And it works out pretty well. I enjoyed what they showed, but I feel like it didn't work as well as I really would have liked it to, because there's kind of this like smash cut in the middle here where we go over to Valinger and to Thord Varg, I think is his name, where we get to see that he basically doesn't feel anything anymore. And it's weird because it says very clearly, this man no longer has any feelings. And then it immediately goes into saying that he feels anger and betrayal and annoyance and all of these negative emotions, and that he knows that it's not the fury of a god. So I don't really understand how he's feeling these things if they clearly said he does not feel anything. And what I think is trying to be shown here is that he no longer feels positive emotions. The emotions he felt he was going to feel, or he thought he was going to feel in these moments, are not the ones he feels. And so he feels anger and disappointment. It's very kind of like Anakin Skywalker-esque, right? However, that was not portrayed properly. I think that was badly done. And so the action sequence for Red Sonja gets kind of ruined by this weird interjection that also happens to not be very clear. But it is set up for later parts of the issue, so I understand why it happens. I just think that it could have been done differently. Eventually, we return to Sonja beating the animal, freeing the slaves, and Kalun Gath, of course, takes over another man, and he becomes Sonja's traveling companion as they arrive at Valinger, where we get to see that people here no longer feel anything or feel very little, and so they're going through extreme measures to try to feel something positive. And so the measure that they're employing right now is a massive burning of betrayers and people that are bad in some way, people that are not under the same spell as them, right? And so we get to see them kind of experience ecstasy for a second, but we get a clear note that says they will no longer feel this anymore afterwards. And so basically these people are cursed to this kind of like dulling of their senses and their emotions. And then we move on to another kind of scene in the same area where she ends up going through these sacred falls that basically just look like a brothel, and she fights this big badass dude there, and she wins. It is very interesting. Kulan Gath continues to show and shower praise on Sonja's vibes. Basically, he like really likes how she goes about life, and then he betrays her. He kills her. He stabs the sword through her chest, and in the moment where she is experiencing death, she actually ends up in this nebulous region, this weird area where people are made of clouds or dust or, you know, smoke or whatever. And she's not really dead, and the colors change just a little bit. And I really enjoyed this cliffhanger, but the rest of the story just felt very middling. And I'm not really sure why that is. So those are my thoughts on this issue. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.